We will continue with working women, insurance ladies from Lithuania, BNI chapter's co-founder and ambassador, one of the top finance advisors in her country. In only 7 years since her start in the life insurance business, she has learned how to balance between being a wife, a mother, and an exceptional businesswoman. A very warm welcome for Mrs. Svetlana Plitin.
Hi, so many professionals in this room. But tell me what, are there any beginners? Raise your hands, the ones who consider yourself the beginners. I'm so jealous because, you have got the whole journey and it only starts right now. A lot of people usually think that you need to be really successful and really skilled and to have a good education and to have a great experience to get really high results. But you know what? I didn't have that all when I started working in this profession almost 8 years ago. I was actually a complete zero. I was a below zero when I started working in this profession because I didn't even know what the finance advisor means. So I will tell you my story and I will show you the simple steps which you should make to make the best of your profession. So I'm a person who came from a country of Lithuania. Do you know what Lithuania is? Have you been there? Who has been there? Yeah, that's what they always say. It's very beautiful, but no one has been there, ever. So it's a country with a population of only 2.5 million people. Can you imagine? I remember one of my friend's finance advisors, actually he's a top of the table advisor, he texted me once on WhatsApp with a question. He said, Svetlana, I have one serious question to ask you. Can you please explain me how is it possible to be a successful finance advisor in Lithuania in a country with a population of only 2.5 million people? Because in my city only the population is 5 million, which is twice bigger than your whole country is. But still, in those almost 8 years, because I will celebrate my 8th anniversary in 10 days from now, I'm an MDRT member for 6 times already. Actually, I made my first MDRT qualification, my first MDRT this year in the April already. So it's almost 7, okay? And I'm actually the MDRT member with the highest accomplishments in Lithuania because we're a very small country. And I'm an expert, which is the highest career level in our company, and I achieved it in the shortest ever period of time. And I'm also an ambassador and a co-founder of a BNI business chapter, which was the #1 business chapter for 7 months amongst 29 others in Lithuania. And we also broke the records. And it's only one part of my life because another part of my life is my family, of course. This is the picture taken this summer. I'm kidding you, no. We've got summer in Lithuania, but it's a picture of my family. My husband and our 3 gorgeous children, and our youngest child is only 7 years old. And if you count well, then you will understand that I became pregnant as soon as I started working as a finance advisor. And this is the picture taken in 2018 in Singapore, where I received one of my biggest awards as a best agent in Lithuania. And here's the deal. Of course, those 3 people on the left and 3 people on the right are not from our company. You can tell it from the main features. But all those gorgeous ladies in the middle, these are the finance advisors, the managers, and even the CEO. All of them are female. And this is the point. In my company, 80% of finance advisors are women. So I'm sure that you too know a lot of finance advisors and managers who are female, And they're very brilliant. They're so smart, so clever, but somehow they do not get it to the top, right? Somehow when you look at the list of the best finance advisors, just a few female are there. Have you ever asked why? I believe I have the answer, but we will get back to that a bit later. So my way to the top, it was quite fast, but it wasn't easy at all, because I've got so many difficulties on my way. But right now, I believe that becoming a finance advisor is the next best thing that happened to me, after meeting my husband, of course. And I truly believe that whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, both ways you're right. Because it always depends on your attitude. And the attitude is doing things that you like and doing things that you believe in, not because they're easy, but despite them being difficult. So my golden start wasn't golden at all. And in 2014, this is a picture of me taking a vow as a finance advisor. Yeah, the lady. And I actually started without knowing what the finance advisor is. Because I remember my manager called me on the phone and he said, Svetlana, would you come to work as a finance advisor? And I looked at my husband and I asked him, what is finance advisor? And he thought for a while and he said, well, this is the kind of job that I wouldn't be able to work. And you know, my husband, he is really intelligent and very smart, and I was sure that he is able to work any kind of job. So I went there to see what is the kind of job that he wouldn't be possible, that he wouldn't do. And I came, I liked it, and I stayed. And by the way, the same year of 2014 was the year when I just came back from a long years of immigration, because before that, I lived in Greece for 7 years. So I wasn't ever planning to go back. So when in 2014 I came back home, I remember, and when I started working, my group manager told me I had to fill in 100 contact lists. Did someone of you fill in 100 contact lists? Okay. So I had no network in Lithuania. I knew nobody, only my mother and my husband. So I took the list, I came home and I wrote my husband's name and his phone number and my mom's name and her phone number. And I made out another 20. Can you imagine how difficult that is? Try. So I went to my group manager and I said, here's the deal. I wrote 2 contacts I knew. I made out another 20. I can continue until I make it 100, or you can just let me work. And he must have seen something in my eyes and this confidence that I had, and he took me under his protection. He allowed me to work. And the same year, actually, the same year, after 1 month, I came to him and I said, you know what, I have one more deal. I'm pregnant. But I know that pregnancy is not a sickness, so I can work, and I continued. So the same year, I became the best new finance advisor in my company, and this is the picture of me and my husband and our son traveling to our first trip, sponsored by our company. Of course, the first trip out of many others that followed. And the next year, the first year of motherhood, I accidentally made my first MDRT. Accidentally, because everyone forgot to tell me what MDRT is. Do you know what MDRT is? Everyone knows? Because this is where you should be every year. So I remember once I came to the office and I saw one of my colleagues and she was holding some table, and I said, what is that? And she said, this is the MDRT qualification table. And it was the late November of 2016. And I said, what do you see in it? She said, I see that I have 10,000 in premium to make by the end of the year, and I will not make it. And I said, okay, 10,000, I have nothing to lose, I can try. So I tried, and I did it. So the year of 2017 was my first year at the MDRT. And when I arrived there were so many beautiful, the best fit, good-looking, smiling, shining, the most intelligent people. And I understood that I have to be there every year since then. And I was. So my story is the one that proves that only 10% is what happens to us. But 90% is always only our reaction to it. Because I could drop it all so many times before, but I didn't. And here is this 10,000 rule. You know it, of course, right? The 10,000 rule, which proves that you don't have to be very educated in something. You don't have to have a huge experience in something, because you will become an expert in whatever you do when you do it for 10,000 times. You make 10,000 phone calls, you become an expert in phone calls. You make 10,000 meetings, you will become an expert in meetings. You make 10,000 presentations, you will become an expert in presentations. Because when you start, you're not as bad as others think. But after 10,000 times, you're not even as good as others think. And there is another thing, that when you become an expert, when you make your thing for 10,000 times, there becomes a moment when you realize that you have to choose between the work and the life. Everyone has that moment? Because you know what, you remember in the beginning I asked, do you imagine why women do not so often make it to the top? Because for a woman, this question comes usually earlier. And when it comes, a woman usually chooses life. How do you think? What is the most important? Who's for the life? Raise your hands. Who's for the work? And let me ask you another question. Which wing does a bird need more? The left or the right? Because what if we don't have to choose? What if we just have to balance? Did you know that an average person spends 3 hours and 30 minutes every day by doing one unnecessary activity, which is a whole month per his year? A whole month every year, which we can spend either on our life, either on our work. So all we have to do is to balance. And for me, to balance means to control our time. The balance is a full-time control. And for me, a full-time control always starts with defining our goals. Do you know what are your goals? Did you read this Alice in Wonderland? Do you remember? It's very simple. Do you remember that moment when she comes to this Cheshire Cat and asks which way to go, and the Cheshire Cat asks, where do you want to go? And Alice answers that she doesn't really care. Then there is no difference where to go, says the Cheshire Cat. So that's the same about us. Do you know where do you want to be in 1 week, in 1 month, in 10 years from now? Where do you want to be by the end of the year? Are you going to be in Nashville next year? So usually I have 2 or 3 biggest priorities, because if I don't make one, maybe I will make another. No one wants to be disappointed, me neither. Afterwards, we should create a system. Because I don't believe, sometimes, people say, you should write your goal on a paper and send it to the universe. I don't believe in it. I believe in action. So my action is creating a system. No one has extra time, so I save time because I prepare on a daily basis. I make schemes, graphics, I make presentations, write articles. So when my client asks me something, I just send a link. I send the presentation because I know I'm always ready. Because our system is the collection of our daily habits which will help us reach our goal. Do you know this person? Everyone knows it, Churchill. Do you know this sign? Victory? I will tell you my interpretation in a while. Yes, but actually he's showing the sign very often. So, he said that for the first 25 years of my life, I wanted freedom. For the next 25 years, I wanted order. For the next 25, I understood that order is freedom. So what I suggest us to put an order in our life. Do you want to sell everything to everyone? Of course not. Because I'm sure that you all have your ideal client, your perfect client and your perfect product. You know where you're the best at. You know who is your best client. Is it a doctor? Is it a family with children? Is it a business owner? For me, it is a business owner. What is your most profitable product? Where do you have minimum competition? Where do you have the expertic knowledge? Niche your market. And afterwards, find the source of referrals. They always tell us to look for the client with an extra zero, right? Yes. Where do you find a client with an extra zero? Who is it? A client with an extra zero is a client with an extra social value. But have you ever thought that a client with high social value buys from a finance advisor with high social value? So what is your value? Let me tell you a story, a short story of a son who comes to his father and asks, "Father, what is my value?" And the father takes a stone, gives it to his boy, and says, "Boy, take the stone, go to the market, walk around, carry it around, and if someone comes to you and wants to buy it, don't say anything, just point two fingers, two fingers." And the boy goes to the market and he walks around, and then this old lady comes to him and asks, "What's the price of the stone?" And the boy points to fingers, and the lady says, $2? Okay, I'll buy it from you. The boy runs back to his father, tells the story, then the father says, "Now take the same stone and go to the museum. Walk around carrying the stone, show it to everyone, but don't give it to anyone. And when someone asks you what's the price, just point two fingers." The boy goes to the museum, and he carries around the stone, and there is an artist who comes to him, and he says, "Boy, that's a very nice stone. I know how to use it. Could you sell it to me, please? How much is it worth?" And the boy points to finger. And the artist says, $200? Okay, I will give it to you. The boy joyfully goes back to his father and says, "Father, you know, there was this man who offered me $200. And the father smiles and says, "Right now, take the same stone and go to the precious stone store and do the same thing." So the boy goes to the precious stone store, walks around, and there is this person who comes to him, the owner of the precious stone store, and he says, "Boy, you have got a very nice stone. Would you sell it to me?" And the boy shows two fingers. The guy says, $2,000? So the boy runs back to his father, tells the story, and the father says, "You see, my son, our price and our value is the same as that stone. It always depends on where we put ourselves to. It always depends on the people that surround you. So who are the people that surround you?" I decided that my client is the business owner. This is when I became a part of a BNI business chapter. And these are the 45 people, business owners, who give their referrals to me on a daily basis. And then, when you get a lot of referrals, of course, they have to choose between the quality and the quantity. How do you think, what is the most important? The quality of your service or the quantity of your sales? Who's for the quantity? Yes, exactly. Because we need to have the quality of the quantity or the quantity of the quality. This is why, of course, we need to delegate parts of the process. Of course, we're good in everything. The best people are here, but the most important part of the process is the sales. So share your job with someone else, because great business in life are never done by one person. It's always done by a team of people. And here is my team of people. I have got 2.5 assistants, 2.5. The half is not here. And I believe that there will be a day when I will have more. Share your work with someone. Because yes, the most important is sales, so do it yourself. Leave the technical job to someone else. And then plan and control. Once you have your plan, stick to it. I know that we all get tired, we all get lazy, but it's important, once you wake up in the morning, not to stay in bed dreaming, but to go and to make your dreams come true. And, of course, the last one, learn to rest and recharge. What we sell, this is the picture from the airport I went recently. It's a very nice one, because I love to rest. I know that I sell emotion. We all sell the emotion. So if we don't have it, what will we sell? I prefer to go on a small weekend journeys with my family, so I can rest. Find your way to rest effectively. Physical activity. There were told so many things about it today, but you know that 1 hour of physical activity provides you with 2 extra hours of energy. And of course, healthy habits. It's what always keeps you on top. I'm not a nutritionist, but everyone knows it. So my recipe is very simple. Define your goals, create the system, niche your market, find the right source of referrals, delegate some parts of the processes, plan and control, rest and recharge, and become a part of some networking organization. And remember that networking, it's not net chatting, it's not net sitting, it's not net drinking coffee, it's networking. And take a full-time control. And remember that it's only you to decide whether you want to be a zero or a hero. Thank you.